I'm David Irving. I've had a career in business of about 40 years now, over 40 years. My main career was at YES, where I became the Chief Executive for Australasia for Heinz Wattie. And more recently, in the last 10 years, I started the Ice House, which is a learning institution for owner-managers and a startup incubator. And today I'm actively involved with businesses of medium size in providing them with advice on how to run them better. Paul Grover came to see me in about 1981, which is 30 years ago, which I think was about the first year that Young Enterprise started. I was the general manager of Watties at the time in Hastings, and he came in with an idea for a lid on a can, so once you've opened the can, the food's exposed. If you want to keep some in your fridge, there it was, he had a lid for it. And I thought that was a terrific idea, and we just talked about what it would take to get it off the ground and going, and he was a terrific guy with a great attitude. Being a mentor provides you with the opportunity to give. I've always had a strong interest in linking business and education. I've worked on it for over 30 years. I've, in one way or another, valued that link. And so for me, he was a young man coming in and asking for advice. It was a pleasure for me to provide that sort of support for him as a student. It is really important for people at this stage, as a secondary school student, to have some link to business in the advice that they get. They're working in a pretty foreign territory, making money, knowing how to find customers, deciding how to produce your product, getting the right costs for the product. Those are all employing staff. They're all fairly challenging things for young people who are starting out. So people who've had time on the ground, time on the street, doing some business, they're going to be able to provide very practical advice to helping people get underway. Young Enterprise provides the opportunity for students to understand what business is. And they learn it in a practical environment. They don't just learn it in a classroom, in the typical classroom study format. They learn it by either writing a business plan or producing a product, but it then gets a practical connection to the market through a mentor helping people to find their market, find their customers. So it's, I think that it's been going for 30 years. It's a pretty good indication that it's a successful proposition. You have to love it. You have to love what you do. You have to have a passion for your product. You've got to, with that passion, you've got to find a business model. You've got to find a way of making money out of the passion that you've got. You have to know your customer, so you've got to go find the type of person who's going to have an interest in that product or service. And sometimes you've got to be prepared to sustain a loss for a short period until you find how are you really going to make money out of it. So you've got to have persistence.